Welcome to part 3 of my Oracle deck collection. I'm Meredith. I'm a certified hypnotist, spiritual life coach, and this channel is all about tarot and Oracle and empowering you. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So we're starting with mass market decks for the most part. Previous videos went over playing cards, mass market decks, a couple independent, but for the most part we're working up to the independent decks. I have over 100 for sure, maybe significantly more. I'm adding these to Libib as I go, so I guess I'll find out at the end how many I have exactly. So, first one is Law of Attraction deck set. This is just a really inexpensive, neat little deck. These are the backs. I did edge them in black. And to me, these are action cards, right? So, for example, this one, beliefs come true. Your beliefs create your reality, which is absolutely true. Recognize and change emotions. Reprogram subconscious mind. So they're not giving you detailed descriptions of what to do, but they're still actions. So to me, these are great for a starting point for a spread. So you might pull one of these and then do a spread on how can I do that, like loving all of you. Love and accept your inner darkness for greatest self-love. Deeply healing world mirrors us. To say, okay, what do I need to do to accept that darkness? Maybe first you need to identify it, right? So maybe pull a card or two. Just, what's that darkness that needs to be addressed? How can I accept it? How can I integrate it? So that's how I use these. I don't use them a huge ton. I think they're really good for other people. I just don't feel the need to use them for myself too much. But it's an interesting deck. And I think that it can be very beneficial if you take the action. I think that's the key with this deck. It's really all about helping kind of maybe steer you toward an action. But then it's up to you, right? You have to choose to take that action. And if you do, I think these can be really beneficial. All right, now the next deck is full of curse words. So if that's not your thing, maybe fast forward. Spiritual AF deck. I think this is the lid and it's like stuck. I don't even know. But this is how I have it now. These are great little messages. And then on the back, so let's get one that, I don't know if there is one that's not. I don't really like that one. Okay. If you ever want to make a change, if you ever want to achieve a goal, you want to always frame it in the positive. Instead of saying like if it's a weight management thing, instead of saying don't eat sweets, you want to frame it in a positive way, like make healthier choices, eat lots of vegetables, drink lots of water, because our minds can't really, they don't handle negative statements. And I don't mean negative as in, oh, that feels bad, but negative as in don't do a thing. For example, I'm a hypnotist, and if I were to hypnotize a person to not see something, right? I could hypnotize you to not see a chair in the middle of a room. But here's the thing. If I then said, cross the room, you would walk around that chair, because in order to not see it, you first have to see it. And that's how we process negatives. So if I say, don't think about a purple elephant, do not think about a purple elephant. What are you thinking about? So that's why you want to always phrase things in a positive way. So like this. Don't just ignore that one. Oh, okay. F what they think. Right? So then on the back, put this card in your pocket and use it as your mantra today, all day, and tomorrow too while you're at it. F what they think. F what they think. F what they think. All together now. F what they think. Let freedom ring. FWTT for the win. I mean, it's a great message. And I guess we have a similar one with what they say. Holding on to resentment is like taking a shit in your own heart. Yeah, so let's see what the back says. Yeah, it's that gross and pointless. Let that shit go. Look up a loving kindness meditation on the internet and do it. Focusing on love is like taking a baby wipe to your heart. So it has really good messages, and some people really don't like curses, and I get it. But when you say, when you read, when you hear a curse, it sparks energy in your brain, and it actually makes you pay more attention. It actually makes you take it more deeply. So it's a clever system, honestly, and it's fun and it's different. I don't use it a lot. It's quirky, and I like it for what it is. It's just not something that I really feel the need for personally. I liked it when I first got it, and I thought it was really cute and funny, and but yeah, I tend not to use it. That'll probably should just move on. Maybe I don't know where the lid is, but anyway. Next, we have the African Goddess Rising. This deck, this is a really, really pretty deck. It's got a really neat system. So these are the backs. So we will look a little more with the guidebooks for oracles, depending on the oracle. So she created a system for the cards. So basically, you have cards that are going to align with the chakras, and you'll see the numbers, right, have colors that align with them, with the exception of 2 sets of cards. So starting with these ancestor cards, right, that's your root chakra, and it goes up. Then, though, we have these 2 sets of illumination cards. So, like the white, those are illumination. Those are the shadows. And then there's another color. I don't know. But there's another color to represent the guardians. Essentially, this system is drawn around all of these are temples, all these groups, and the temples represent kind of passages to awaken that goddess energy within. And then depending on the card, some are based around goddesses, some are based around myths and they're beautiful. They're beautiful. There's such a powerful energy with these cards. There's such a lushness to the artwork. I mean, look at this. I mean, this is beautiful. And just to give you an example, right? Let's take a look at this one because I really like it. So this is Nundi, and I apologize. I have no idea how to pronounce these, so I'm doing my best. This is the goddess of truth, and of course, I mean, you could say, right? It's that throat chakra. The element is water, right, which we obviously see represented. Nundi is the bold, outspoken wife of Benin, Iwa, who was a deity. Legba was feeling neglected by her husband. Even with several wives, his head easily turned. So Nundi lived her truth, took her own lover, and became her own best friend. So then it gives you guidance. Get real. What's your truth? Truth-telling matters. Being able to hear the truth matters just as much. And then an embodiment. Tell the truth. Each person has their own version. Speak yours. Words have impact. Remember that we all have triggers. Think before you speak and listen with compassion. Be gentle and stay calm in truth-telling conversations. And then each card has a goddess declaration. So in this case, the truth is my friend. And these are, the guidebook is wonderful. The messages are beautiful. And this is just a fabulous deck. And I don't really, look at this. I mean, look at this. I don't really see this deck talked about too much. And I don't know why, because it's an incredible deck. I really, really love this. And it's a wonderful deck. And I really enjoy it. I enjoy the system. Look. Yeah. And this is a deck that I do use the guidebook. But I don't have to either. You know, you can sense the energy, and having the color for the chakras helps too. But yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful deck. Really, really recommend it. And I love it. One day I'll get around to edging it purple. But yeah. So that's the African Goddess Rising. And next, so this is one of the little mini decks that I have. This is Divine Doors. Now, this deck for me, so I love the images, and I use this, you know, purely intuitively. So the backs, first of all, they're hard to read, which irritates me. You know, it should have been in like black or a darker print. You can see it better on camera than you can in person, or at least I, you know. So, for example, there's this one, Inner Power. Be your own command. You brought yourself here. At this moment in life, you have nothing to fear. I don't like the backs at all. I guess the fronts. I see. At some point, I am going to, I think, re-back or refront this deck, and put something that I like. For now, I just ignore them. So, and I basically use them as like the backs. And the way I use it is just, I use it meditatively. I use them sometimes to add to a reading, but I just take what I take from the cards, you know. How do they feel? I let it transport me. And I think, for me, this deck is really powerful when used in that way, because the images are so evocative and they're so wonderful. And even though they may seem kind of simple, like, okay, it's a door, there's really a lot in each picture. So I really love this deck. I don't use, and I don't care for the backs, or fronts, whatever they are. So, yeah, and I've never rebacked a deck, so I think this will be a good, it's very inexpensive, so I think this will be a good experiment. We'll see how it goes. Now the next one is Forest Fae. I love this deck. Front and backs. They're so cute. I do need to edge them. But, and there's just the Woodwife, trust your inner wisdom. The Autumn Fae, go slowly and listen closely for the words of the tree spirit. So, for me, these are action cards. For the vast majority of the cards have something actionable. Some things are more obvious than others. Some things are more able to do, kind of immediately. Some things may take more time. Take pride in yourself. Well, unless you're using hypnosis, it's not a light switch, right? But it's something you can work toward. So I really like this. And again, this is a deck that I'll use in a larger spread and maybe pull one. Sometimes I'll do multiple, especially if if I'm doing a spread about decisions. A lot of times I'll do like 3 paths. So you have 3 choices, 3 outcomes, and I'll pull one for each path. I just really like it. I love the energy. I love the artistry. And I love the messages. So, this is my favorite of the tiny decks. And I really enjoy it. And I love the little box. I love little things. But it's a great deck. And next we have Making Magick cards. These I did edge. And there are various ways you can use this deck too. For me, I tend to use it in the beginning of a spread. Some people like to use them as altar cards. I don't. I just don't. For me, if I want sigils, I tend to use my own. I just, but I like them. But yeah, for me, it's more just like an accent in a spread, and I like them. It's not my favorite deck, but it's it's nice, and it's nice that classical symbols are and sigils are used for the most part. So I appreciate that, because that does lend I think it creates a greater resonance within. But some of them I don't, to me, don't match up with the text. So that's the only thing. I mean, they're nice cards. I don't want to get rid of them, but I don't reach for them a ton. So now, let's do this series that probably be familiar to most of you. This is Seasons of the Witch. This one's the Beltane Oracle. So this is the newest one. So these are the backs, which are beautiful. Love the gilding. And the cards are lovely. I think out of the three, and I'll show you the other two in a minute, this might be my favorite. So with these cards, they give you like that keyword, and then there's text at the bottom, and it kind of changes. Well, obviously it changes, but I feel like the purpose kind of changes between the cards. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I tend to ignore it. It's just me. I love the artwork, and that's where I focus. Yeah, I don't... I mean, some are nice, like Rowan. There's no need to fear, dear one. Protected you are, and protected you will always be. And that's a nice sentiment. I don't need it. You know what I mean? I need this image. Even the key words. I mean, well, I mean, this is nice for sacred waters, but I don't know. So I tend to ignore it. It does come with a fairly thick guidebook. So it'll give you a keyword, and I think it's the same. Honestly, I don't. Oh yeah, here. Oh, that's so weird. I opened to the right. So it gives you goddess, and it gives you a keyword you can use. Then it repeats that little thing that's here. But then it kind of talks about the card itself, and it, in this case, it lists different goddesses. So each one's a little bit different. Sometimes they give you kind of advice. Sometimes it's more of a divination meaning. Yeah, I feel like each one's a little bit different. I don't use this guidebook. I just don't. This is an oracle that, to me, speaks for itself. And so that's how I use it. Yeah, and I ignore this, and sometimes I ignore that. But I love the imagery so much. And sometimes what I pull from it has nothing to do with, I guess, the intent. And that's okay. I do what I do that's right for me. And that's how I see it. And I think that's what we should all do. So, but I really like it. So don't mistake. I just don't use the guidebook. So the next, and this was actually the first one that came out, Seasons of the Witch, Samhain Oracle. So this one, let's show you these. Again, you have this chunky book. This one gives you more, and out of all the books, I've used this one more because I find more useful or interesting information in this one, personally. And that's just a purely personal thing. These are the backs. And this one's got the nice red gilding. And so for me, sorry, I do tend to use them around the times that they're meant to be used, really. this one definitely has that kind of autumnal feel, and I really enjoy it. So I do like it, but again, I kind of look here, if not there. I just want to get what I get from it, and while I have used this guidebook more, I tend not to use it in readings. Like, I'll just kind of look through it more than rely on it to read. If that makes sense. But I think that I just don't feel the need to use it. So yeah. So I really like the deck. Out of all the guidebooks, I prefer this. So take that for what it's worth. But I do really like it. And then we have the Yule Oracle, Seasons of the Witch. And this one, I don't even know if I ever looked at this guidebook, honestly. So, but it does give you keywords, which is nice. I don't think I've used it. I haven't used this deck a ton. It's really pretty. But I am going to use it this season, I think, probably. But I like it. I like the feel of it, and I think they did do a really good job with bringing in the feeling for each season, for each yeah, this is lovely. Actually, I feel like I got this kind of late, and maybe that's why I haven't used it as much, because I do really like it. But again, I don't I tend not to even see these, so this is what, if anything, will stand out to me. Yeah, I get my own stuff from it. And I like that. So yeah, it's very nice, and they're gonna continue making these. I'm sure they do really well. They're really popular. And I look forward to the next one, and I will continue to get them. So next, this deck. This is one I do use the book, and it's huge. This is the Tao Oracle. This deck has so much. Now, I'm going to say, alright, these are the packs. I don't have to use the book. So it does give you, like, I guess, like, kind of keyword titles, and then it gives you keywords beneath that. And I think the images are very evocative. They're absolutely beautiful. Oh, I mean, look at this. But, so, I'm going to tell you, like, for this card, for example, what I'm feeling right now from this card is not related to these keywords. And for me, it's important to focus most on what I feel. So sometimes I may use them, sometimes I don't. And sometimes this is beautiful. I may really go off on my own, in just a completely different direction. And I think that's important to allow yourself to do that. But yeah, so you can absolutely, look at this. You can absolutely use this without the guidebook. And I think it can read just beautifully and wonderfully exactly as it is. But if you choose to use the guidebook, it can give you so much more to the readings, and it really is very thorough. And it, yeah. So it talks about the cards, the symbology used, different ways you can use it, different layouts, and then it gets into the cards themselves. So it's really up to you how you want to use it, but it's a really nice deck. All right, next one. This is the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. Came in a big box, and I got rid of that right away. I do need to edge these. So it does have a really chunky guidebook. Gives you a ton of information. All about the symbology. And one of the neat things about it tells you how to, how you might use them, different spreads. One of the really neat things about this deck is the way that they broke it down. So I think you can see it in. So you have the sun cards, the moon cards, Mercury cards, Venus, and different cards that are linked to those planets and to those associations, I guess. So like the sun is the suit of fortune, the moon is the suit of security, and the cards are really lovely. And if you use this deck to its fullest potential, it's actually a little bit, I don't want to say complicated, but there's a lot, there are a lot of symbols that you can take from the way that they organize the cards themselves. There's just a lot. But I'm going to say you don't even have to use it if you don't want to. I actually do like using the book and using their system, but you don't have to. I mean, I think that even if, say you didn't have the book, right, and you just picked up this deck, there's so much here. I think you could read really well with it just the way it is and not know anything about the purposes behind a lot of these things. I just feel like there's so much to pull from. Even if you don't get everything, you're gonna get a lot. So I hope that makes sense. I really like this deck, and the cardstock is very laminated, almost kind of plasticky, but I like it. And the deck is significantly smaller than we generally see with oracles. So you can see this is a pretty standard tarot size. So it's a good bit smaller, a little bit thinner. It's a good bit shorter. And so it just, they shuffle really, really well. it's a really interesting, really nice deck. I really enjoy using it. It pairs beautifully with Tarot of the Holy Light. It's just kind of got a similar vibe for me. But I also like using this with decks that are a little more simple. And yeah, I feel like that just allows me to focus a little bit more on this. You know, like Spacious Tarot. That may seem like a weird pairing, but to me, they work really well together. Because Spacious Tarot pulls me in, but there's not a huge amount going on, right? So I can kind of step into those cards and then inspect these from the card, if that makes sense. I don't know if it does, but that's kind of how I do it. So I'm looking at it from the, almost like from the viewpoint of the tarot cards. All right, next, love this deck. So this is Whispers of Lord Ganesha. This deck just makes me so happy. I guess I should show you, since I guess this is now what we're doing. We're doing the guidebooks. So the cards are black and white, but they're still pictured. And it gives a nice nice description of the card, and it goes into some of the symbology, and it's just really nice. So these are the backs, and it's just wonderful. I love this deck. It's very, very evocative. It's so beautiful, and it's, to me, this is a happy deck. This is a, you know, just a loving, wonderful, warm deck. And I mean, look at this. It's so beautiful, and I think they did a fabulous job. It's definitely glossy, but it doesn't bother me. And I think with this deck, I actually kind of like it glossy. I just feel like it, I don't know, it brings out the images more. And so you could absolutely just use this with keywords, you know, if that's what you choose to do. It does give you a little snippet under each of the words to kind of expand upon them. So like for openness, it says observe, evaluate, and make inquiries before forming a conclusion. So I really like that because it gives you an action, but they don't all do that. But it's just really nice. It's really, really lovely. And yeah, I love this deck. And this is I mean, look at this. Look at that. Can you just feel that energy? I can. To me, this is a very energetic deck, and I just connect with it very strongly and powerfully, and I really love it. And even though it is so glossy, it does shuffle really smoothly. You know, the cards don't stick; they just glide. So yeah, I love it. And so that's Whispers of Lord Ganesha. And next, this is a deck that I think is going to move on. So this is Fallen Angel Oracle cards. So it comes in this big box, and it's just, I'm sure there was something here to hold them at some point, but, you know. So, this deck comes with a not very big guidebook, but I mean, it's tall. So it gives you color images of the cards, gives you a message, and then it gives you kind of a description and a motto for each card. So these are the backs. They are glossy. And, you know, if you look at, like, just one card, I mean, it's lovely and lush. The problem for me, one of the problems with this deck, and it's just my personal thing, obviously, it just, there's a lot of sameness to me about the images. I don't know. It just doesn't... It just kind of feels like there's maybe just a handful of energies and types of cards, and then they just repeat. I'm sure that's not the case. It's just how it feels to me. And the other, probably the bigger, really, issue for me is that I just don't agree with the keywords. I don't, the way that so they're given an element and a planet, and that's fine, but the associations, the messages, the mottos, just don't always line up for me. Yeah, and so that it just, and because these are so big, it just really prevents me from reading well with it. It's like nails on the chalkboard to me. There's this discord that happens, because I know I say usually I ignore this stuff, but these are really obvious, and it's definitely more difficult, and they're not always in the same place. So it's not like if they were just at the bottom, potentially I could trim it, you know, but like here it's in the middle. And I think those are the ones that, of course, are harder to ignore. So it just doesn't work for me. But that's just me personally. So, I mean, if this deck appeals to, I mean, the images are beautiful, but it just doesn't match up with how I see the energies and the angels. Just doesn't. So this deck it's definitely going to move on. I just don't, and I mean, it's beautiful, but I just can't. I don't know. I just can't click with it, and I know I'm not going to. You know, it's one of those decks that it doesn't matter how long it sits, it's just never going to work for me. So absolutely time to move this one on. And let's see. Oh, so this deck. This is the Heavenly Bodies Astrology deck. Comes in this beautiful box. That's why I've kept it, because it's so pretty. Beautiful hardcover book. And then the cards are actually in this smaller box, which is really pretty. The guidebook, first of all, is so pretty. Honestly, even if you're just interested in the book alone, I think it would be well worth it. I don't remember what it cost, but it wasn't a lot of money, especially considering what you get. So it talks about astrology. It talks about the signs of the zodiac, the planets, the houses, major aspects, and it just goes on and on. So then it talks about the deck itself, how to kind of decode, and it's just, this is a wealth of information in here. Yeah, and it talks about different spreads, different ways you can use it, and then it gives you a snippet about specific card, gives you the energetics, experiences, and the omen, or the it's kind of like the divinatory meaning. It's a really, really nice deck. So let me show it to you. And the box is wonderful too. So these are the backs. This deck, the cardstock is wonderful too, by the way. I love, there's such a softness, and then like a sweet beauty about it. There's a dreaminess and a stillness that I love. This pairs really well with the Tarot of the Kingdoms. They have kind of a similar feel. This one's a bit more subdued in terms of color, but it's just really lovely. It's just a lovely, lovely deck. I really enjoy it. And if you're kind of interested in astrology, maybe you don't know a whole heck of a lot, I think this is a great way to kind of, get your feet wet. Because it does give you a lot of information. And it, with the houses, it gives you those keywords that help you associate the house, which is great. Yeah, it's a really nice deck. I really enjoy it. I really just use it for me. But I could absolutely see, using these in readings for others. But it's just really nice. I really like it. And so, next, let's do just one more. Trying to find one that's, these decks are just buried. And I sorted through. So I'm trying to be a little organized with it and keep kind of mass markets and independent decks together. So, okay. Oh, actually, this is a good one because This is another affirmation deck. So this is manifesting your greatness. I love this little box. So that's why it hasn't moved from here, because the box is so pretty. And it's nice, even though it is a bit bigger. So these are the back. Look how pretty. Love the backs. I tend not to use this book, but I looked through it when I first got it. And I like it, but I don't really refer back. Look at the gilding. That's just wonderful. I love that. So this deck, I love the artwork. Absolutely love it. This is an affirmation deck that I will keep just because I love it. And I will use this for other people. I tend to use it either as a starting or a closing for a reading. You know, like this, one small change. What's that one small change that would make the biggest difference to you right now, right? And then maybe do a spread based on that. And to give you an idea of the guidebook, let's actually take a look at that one. Assuming I can find it. Let's see. No, it's not. I was gonna say it's alphabetized, but it's not. I don't know. But the table of contents isn't huge, so you can find stuff. So for this card, get a plant for your desk, open a window, light some incense, stick up for yourself. A new Pandora channel can give you a whole new outlook on life. Check out both the Music Has What You Need card, and so it does refer to other cards too. I mean, it's cute. I don't feel the need to reach for the guidebook, though. I feel like the cards give me everything that I need. They're just, they're fun, and happy, and I really, really like them. I think the artwork just really empowers these cards. And I mean, look at this. Shine some light on it, and it just, I mean, I can feel the message. I don't even need the words. And I just think they were made really, really beautifully, and very smartly. And yeah, I would say, I mean, this is just my thing, but if you really wanted an affirmation deck, this would be the one. I just think it's, the most useful. And I mean, that is just my thing. And absolutely, you could have other decks that, really do it for you. But if you're on the hunt, I would definitely check this out, because it's just wonderful. And I really like it. And I should keep this out of the box, because honestly, I feel like the big boxes kind of prohibit use, at least sometimes, because, they have to be stored in a certain way, and then you have to really go in and pull them out. And I don't know, for me anyway, I think maybe I will put these in a pouch. So that's one of the things I like about doing this is, I'm using this as an opportunity to kind of reorganize and kind of rework my systems for storage and and for use. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. It's these, the pollen. I actually got meds from the doctor that I haven't picked up yet, so I should probably do that to try to handle these allergies. I don't like to take medicine, but I think it's time. And it's time for me to ask you to please like, share, and subscribe, because it's a new channel. Every single one counts, and you count most of all. And I'm interested in your thoughts, your experiences, your comments. What do you think about these decks? Do you have a deck that maybe you feel is even better for affirmations? Or, is there a deck that you're thinking about that, is interesting? Maybe I've never heard of that deck. I would love to hear about that deck and about you. So until next time, be good to yourself, because you deserve it, and live in the moment. I think that's a great message. So, be good to yourself, because you're wonderful and you deserve it. You deserve only the best, all the best. And that's my wish for you.